Captain Jake Martinez stared at the view screen as his ship, the USS Defiance, drifted through the Proxima Centauri system. 3 years had passed since humanity first achieved faster-than-light travel, and this was their furthest colony mission yet. The ship carried 5,000 settlers ready to start a new life among the stars. Jake had been exploring space for 15 years, but nothing had prepared him for what appeared on his sensors that morning. Massive ships, each one larger than any human city, materialized around his vessel. The alien craft were sleek and predatory, their hulls gleaming with an otherworldly metal that seemed to absorb light. "Captain, we're being scanned," reported Lieutenant Amy Brooks from her station. Her voice trembled despite her training. "The energy readings are off the charts. These ships are more advanced than anything we've ever seen." Jake nodded grimly. First contact with an alien species was always a possibility, but he had hoped it would be under better circumstances. His ship was a simple colony vessel, armed only with basic defensive weapons. Against these massive alien warships, the Defiance might as well be made of paper. A communications signal pierced through their systems with ease. The alien technology bypassed their encryption and security measures as if they didn't exist. When the signal activated their main view screen, Jake found himself staring at a creature that would haunt his nightmares for years to come. The alien was reptilian, with scales that shifted from deep green to black depending on the light. Its eyes were large and predatory, designed for hunting in low light. When it spoke, its voice carried the authority of someone accustomed to absolute obedience. "I am Admiral Zexthon of the Hegemony Fleet," the creature announced. "You are humans from the planet you call Earth. We have been monitoring your expansion into our territory." Jake stepped forward, trying to project confidence he didn't feel. "I'm Captain Martinez of the United Earth Space Force. We come in peace and wish to establish diplomatic relations with your people." Admiral Zexthon's mouth curved in what might have been a smile, revealing rows of sharp teeth. "Peace is not an option for your species. The hegemony has ruled this galaxy for over 2,000 years. 7 advanced species bow to our authority, and you will join them." The alien commander gestured, and the view screen split to show images that made Jake's blood run cold. Entire worlds reduced to ash, populations enslaved, once proud civilizations reduced to serving their alien masters. The technology gap between the hegemony and their victims had made resistance impossible. "Your species has 30 of your Earth days to surrender unconditionally," Zexthon continued. "You will dismantle your military forces, submit to our rule, and accept your role as servants. Refuse, and we will reduce your homeworld to dust." Jake wanted to respond with defiance, but his tactical training told him the truth. Humanity had barely managed to reach the stars. Their technology was primitive compared to what he was seeing. Earth's entire space fleet numbered less than 200 ships, while the alien force surrounding him seemed endless. "I need to consult with my government," Jake said finally. "Give me time to—" "You will witness the fate of those who resist us," Zexthon interrupted. The alien ships opened fire on a nearby asteroid, demonstrating weapons that turned solid rock into expanding clouds of plasma. The display of power was meant to intimidate, and it worked perfectly. Jake realized that humanity's entire nuclear arsenal would be useless against technology like this. Back on Earth, President Lisa Morgan sat in the emergency session of the United Earth Council. The captured footage from Captain Martinez's encounter played on screens around the room, and the mood was dark. Every military advisor present had reached the same conclusion. Humanity could not win a war against the hegemony. General Connor Blake, head of Earth's military forces, presented his analysis to the assembled leaders. The alien fleet numbers in the millions. Each of their ships could destroy our entire Space Force single-handedly. We have no choice but to surrender and hope they treat us mercifully. President Morgan looked around the room at the faces of defeat. Earth had united only 50 years ago after the Third World War, and now they faced extinction at the hands of an alien empire. The dream of human expansion among the stars was about to end before it truly began. "There must be alternatives," she said, though her voice lacked conviction. "Our scientists, our military researchers, surely they have something." "Madam President," General Blake replied, "we're comparing stone axes to laser cannons. The technology gap is insurmountable." As the debate continued, Director Sam Parker sat quietly in the corner. He was a thin man with graying hair who rarely spoke during council meetings. Most people assumed he worked in agricultural planning or resource management. They had no idea that he controlled humanity's most classified project. "Director Parker?" President Morgan called out, noticing his silence. "Do you have any input on our situation?" Sam looked up, and for a moment his tired eyes showed something that surprised everyone in the room. Hope. "Madam President, I request 48 hours before any final decision is made. There are considerations that need time to develop." General Blake scoffed. "What considerations could possibly change our situation? The aliens have given us 30 days, but that's just for show. We need to begin surrender negotiations immediately." 48 hours, Sam repeated calmly. "That's all I ask." President Morgan studied the mysterious director. She had always suspected he was involved in classified research, but she had never pressed for details. Now, with humanity facing extinction, she decided to trust him. "You have your 48 hours, she announced, ignoring General Blake's protests. "But if you have something that can help us, we need to know about it now." Sam stood and gathered his papers. "You'll know within 2 days. Until then, I suggest you prepare for all possibilities." As he left the room, Sam activated a secure communicator hidden in his briefcase. The device sent an encrypted signal to facilities throughout the solar system, from hidden bases in the asteroid belt to secret shipyards orbiting the gas giants. Deep in the outer solar system, automated construction facilities that had been dormant for years suddenly came to life. Massive doors opened on structures that had been disguised as mining operations or research stations. From these hidden locations, ships began to emerge. The vessels were unlike anything in Earth's official fleet. Their hulls were matte black, designed to absorb sensor scans and visual detection. They moved with the silent grace of predators, using propulsion systems that left no energy signatures. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching as the Black Armada assembled for the first time in 20 years. Around her, 50,000 ships of various sizes and configurations took formation in the darkness between worlds. "All units report ready status," her communications officer announced. "The fleet is at full operational capacity." Kate nodded, remembering the day 20 years ago when humanity first detected alien signals from deep space. While politicians debated and diplomats prepared for peaceful contact, a small group of military leaders and scientists had made different preparations. They had known this day would come. The universe was too vast and too old for humanity to be the only intelligent species, and history taught that first contact was rarely peaceful. So they had prepared in secret, developing weapons and ships that could fight enemies with technology beyond human understanding. Captain Martinez watched from his detention cell aboard the alien ship as more hegemony vessels arrived in the system. The aliens had taken his crew prisoner, but they seemed more interested in studying humans than harming them. He could see Earth in the distance, a blue marble that looked so small and fragile against the vastness of space. The countdown to humanity's surrender had begun, but Jake suspected that his species had more surprises in store for their alien captors. The crew of the Defiance had been trained to recognize certain energy signatures and ship configurations, patterns that most humans would never notice. As he watched the darkness between the stars, Jake thought he saw brief flickers of movement, shadows that didn't belong in the empty void. His training told him those shadows were impossible, but his instinct suggested something else entirely. The 30-day countdown had begun, but humanity's real response was already moving through the darkness, invisible and patient, waiting for the right moment to strike. President Morgan followed Director Parker through corridors deep beneath the Swiss Alps, 20 kilometers underground in a facility that didn't exist on any official record. The elevator had descended for 10 minutes through solid rock before reaching the complex that housed humanity's greatest secret. 20 years ago, we detected the first alien transmissions, Sam explained as they walked through halls lined with armed guards. The signals came from beyond our solar system, and our best cryptographers eventually decoded them. What we learned changed everything. They entered a vast chamber filled with holographic displays showing star maps, alien ship designs, and weapons specifications. Dr. Helen Carter, a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and steady hands, stood at the center of it all. She had been the chief architect of Project Nightfall since its inception. "The aliens have been watching us for decades," Helen began without preamble. "Their communications revealed plans to subjugate or eliminate humanity once we achieved interstellar flight. They've done this to hundreds of species across the galaxy." President Morgan stared at the displays showing alien technologies that seemed impossible. "How did you learn all this? How did you develop countermeasures?" "Mars," Helen replied simply. "When we established our first permanent base there 15 years ago, our deep excavation teams found something extraordinary. Buried beneath kilometers of rock were the remains of an ancient alien outpost, complete with intact technology." The revelation hit Morgan like a physical blow. "An alien base on Mars? How is that possible?" "The facility was over 50,000 years old," Sam continued. "It belonged to a species that fought against the hegemony long before humans evolved. They lost their war, but their technology survived. We've been reverse engineering their weapons and defensive systems ever since." Helen led them to another section of the complex where technicians worked on devices that seemed to bend light around themselves. Quantum cloaking technology, dark matter manipulation, weapons that operate on principles the hegemony has never encountered. We've built an entire fleet using these recovered technologies. Meanwhile, in the asteroid belt, Commander Alex Rodriguez prepared his squadron for their first combat mission. His ship, the Shadow's Edge, was a destroyer that could vanish from sensors at will. The hull was coated with materials that absorbed energy scans, making it effectively invisible to alien detection systems. "All units, check your quantum drives," Alex ordered over the secure channel. "We're going to test their detection capabilities before the main operation begins." His squadron of 12 ships activated their cloaking systems and moved toward the edge of hegemony space. They had been training for this mission for 5 years, running countless simulations against alien ship designs recovered from the Mars facility. Back in the Proxima Centauri system, Captain Martinez sat in his cell aboard the alien vessel, studying his captors and their technology. The hegemony ship was massive, but it seemed designed more for intimidation than efficiency. The aliens relied on overwhelming force rather than tactical innovation. A fellow prisoner approached him cautiously. She was clearly not human, with blue-tinted skin and large black eyes adapted for underwater vision. Her species appeared aquatic, with gill slits along her neck and webbed fingers. "You are from the species they call human," she said in accented but understandable English. The universal translator implants the aliens had provided worked surprisingly well. "Yes, I'm Captain Martinez of the Earth vessel Defiance. Who are you?" "I am Kira Esh, of the Delaney. My world was conquered by the hegemony 3 centuries ago." Her voice carried the weight of generations of oppression. "We were once masters of the oceans on 12 worlds. Now we serve as laborers in their underwater mining operations." Jake leaned closer, keeping his voice low. "How many species have they conquered?" "Dozens. The Zephyrians were brilliant engineers before they became maintenance workers. The Kervalis were artists and philosophers before they became entertainment for hegemony nobles. Every species that resisted was broken. Those that submitted immediately were allowed to keep some dignity, but they are still slaves." "What about their military? Do they have weaknesses?" Kira Esh glanced around nervously before responding. "They are powerful but arrogant. They have not fought a real war in over 500 years. Most of their victories come from overwhelming technological superiority, not tactical skill. They assume all primitive species will react the same way." Jake filed that information away. His military training had taught him that overconfidence was often more dangerous than superior weapons. If humanity could find a way to exploit that arrogance, they might have a chance. On Earth, Admiral Kate Sullivan stood in the command center of Project Nightfall, watching as her ships completed their mobilization. The Black Armada was finally ready for deployment after 20 years of secret construction and training. "Status report from all task forces," she ordered. "Task Force Alpha reports 5,200 stealth destroyers at full readiness," came the first response. "Task Force Beta has 3,800 heavy cruisers standing by. Task Force Gamma confirms 15,000 fighter craft prepared for launch." Kate nodded as the reports continued. The numbers were staggering, representing the largest military construction project in human history. Every resource that could be spared had gone into building this secret fleet, while the public believed humanity's entire space force consisted of a few hundred exploration and colony ships. "What about the special weapons systems?" she asked Dr. Carter, who had joined them in the command center. "The dark energy cannons are operational on all capital ships. Quantum torpedoes are loaded and armed. The antimatter mines have been distributed to forward deployment teams." Helen's voice was steady, but Kate could see the weight of responsibility in her eyes. In the outer solar system, Captain Ryan Foster commanded the stealth carrier Phantom as it launched its complement of unmanned fighter craft. These weren't ordinary drones, but sophisticated AI-controlled weapons platforms that could operate independently for weeks at a time. "Go squadron away," reported his flight control officer. "All units are maintaining stealth profile and proceeding to assigned patrol areas." The fighters were invisible to conventional sensors, using the same quantum cloaking technology as the larger ships. They moved through space like digital shadows, mapping alien positions and identifying targets for the coming offensive. Admiral Zexthon stood on the bridge of his flagship, reviewing intelligence reports about the human homeworld. Earth appeared to be defended only by primitive orbital stations and a handful of patrol ships. The planet's surrender seemed inevitable. Admiral, our scouts report unusual energy readings from the outer regions of this system, his intelligence officer reported. There may be human mining operations or research stations in the asteroid belt. Irrelevant, Zexthon replied dismissively. Primitive industrial facilities pose no threat to our fleet. Continue preparations for the final assault on Earth. What the alien commander didn't know was that his scouts were detecting the energy signatures of the Black Armada as it moved into position. The human ships had been designed to mimic the signatures of mining equipment and research vessels, hiding in plain sight among the genuine industrial operations. Commander Rodriguez's stealth squadron had successfully penetrated deep into hegemony, space, gathering intelligence on alien fleet movements and communication protocols. The information they collected was transmitted back to Earth using quantum entanglement communication systems that the aliens couldn't detect or intercept. Base. Control, this is Shadow Leader, Alex reported during one of his scheduled check-ins. Enemy fleet composition confirmed. We count approximately 8 million vessels of various classes, but they're spread across multiple star systems. Their coordination appears to rely on faster-than-light communication networks that we've successfully mapped. Back on Earth, President Morgan watched the tactical displays as the true scope of humanity's preparation became clear. The revelation that her species had been preparing for this war for 20 years was overwhelming, but she couldn't argue with the results. How many people knew about this project? She asked Director Parker. Less than 10,000 worldwide. Everyone with security clearance high enough to matter, and they all understood that humanity's survival depended on absolute secrecy. And, you're confident we can win? Dr. Carter answered that question. We've run thousands of simulations based on recovered alien technology and observed hegemony tactics. Our ships are designed specifically to counter their weapons and defensive systems. More importantly, our strategy is based on principles they've never encountered. What principles? Guerrilla warfare, technological surprise, and psychological shock? Helen explained. The hegemony has always won through overwhelming force against primitive enemies. They've never faced an opponent that could match their technology while using completely different tactical approaches. Captain Martinez continued his careful observation of alien operations aboard their ship. He noticed that their security was lax, their procedures predictable, and their technology dependent on centralized control. The attack began at exactly 0300 Earth Standard Time, coordinated across 12 star systems simultaneously. Admiral Kate Sullivan watched from her flagship as the Black Armada revealed itself for the first time. 50,000 ships decloaking, in perfect formation around the hegemony's primary staging area. All units, commence Operation Dark Dawn, Kate ordered, her voice carrying across quantum communication channels to every ship in the fleet. The aliens never saw it coming. One moment their sensors showed empty space, the next they were surrounded by human warships that seemed to materialize from nothing. The psychological impact was immediate and devastating. Admiral Zexthon stood frozen on his command bridge as proximity alarms screamed throughout his flagship. His tactical displays showed human vessels appearing everywhere, their signatures unlike anything in hegemony databases. How is this possible? He demanded, his reptilian features twisted in disbelief. Human technology is primitive. They should not possess cloaking capabilities. His weapons officer, a member of the insectoid Vex species, worked frantically at his console. Admiral, their ships are using technology we've never encountered. Our targeting systems cannot lock onto them consistently. The first human weapons fired before the hegemony could respond. Quantum torpedoes phased through alien energy shields as if they didn't exist, detonating inside enemy hulls with devastating effect. The aliens' defensive systems, designed to stop conventional energy weapons, proved useless against weapons that operated on entirely different principles. Captain Ryan Foster commanded the stealth carrier Phantom as it launched wave after wave of unmanned fighters. These weren't the crude drones the hegemony expected from a primitive species, but sophisticated AI weapons platforms that moved with impossible precision. Ghost Squadron is away, his flight controller reported. All units are maintaining quantum, signature masking. The enemy cannot distinguish our fighters from background radiation. The AI fighters struck like digital phantoms, appearing on alien sensors for microseconds before vanishing again. They targeted communication arrays, weapon systems, and propulsion units with surgical precision, crippling enemy vessels without destroying them outright. Commander Alex Rodriguez led his stealth destroyer squadron in a flanking attack against the alien fleet's command vessels. The Shadow's Edge moved through space like a predator, using dark matter manipulation to bend gravity and light around its hull. "Target the command ship's communication array," Alex ordered. "We need to disrupt their coordination before they can adapt to our tactics." His weapons officer, Lieutenant Danny Cooper, fired a series of antimatter mines that materialized inside the alien command ship's hull. The mines bypassed all external defenses by using quantum tunneling technology, appearing directly in vital ship systems. The explosions were contained but devastating. The hegemony flagship lost communication, navigation, and primary weapons in the first 30 seconds of combat. Admiral Zexthon found himself commanding a crippled vessel while his fleet scattered in confusion around him. Throughout hegemony space, similar attacks unfolded with clockwork precision. Human strike teams had identified every major alien facility, supply depot, and communication relay. The attacks were coordinated to maximize psychological impact while minimizing alien casualties. Dr. Helen Carter monitored the operation from the command center beneath the Swiss Alps, watching as 20 years of preparation paid off in spectacular fashion. Quantum torpedo effectiveness exceeds projections by 30%, she reported to President Morgan. Dark energy cannons are penetrating alien shields with no significant resistance. Casualties? The president asked, though she dreaded the answer. Minimal on our side. The aliens are suffering equipment damage but relatively few deaths. Our weapons are designed to disable rather than destroy, just as planned. The strategy was working perfectly. Humanity had learned from studying the hegemony's history that broken enemies could become allies, while martyred enemies inspired others to resist. The goal was to demonstrate overwhelming superiority while leaving room for surrender. Captain, Martinez felt the hegemony ship shudder under weapons fire and knew that rescue was at hand. He had been counting the hours since sending his intelligence transmission, and the timing was perfect. His fellow prisoner, Kira Esch of the Delani, looked at him with something approaching hope. "Is this your fleet?" she asked, her aquatic features animated with excitement. "I think so," Jake replied, though he was as amazed as anyone by what was happening. The human ships he could see through the viewport were unlike anything in Earth's official fleet. They moved with the fluid grace of living creatures, their black hulls seeming to absorb light itself. The hegemony ship's communication systems crackled to life with frantic alien voices. The universal translators struggled with the rapid, panicked speech, but the meaning was clear. The aliens were retreating on all fronts. "Attention hegemony vessels," came a calm human voice over the emergency channels. "This is Admiral Kate Sullivan of the Terran Black Fleet. You are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender immediately and you will be treated according to interstellar law. Admiral Zexthon snarled at the communication console. We do not surrender to primitive species. All ships target the human vessels, show them the price of defying the hegemony. But when his fleet tried to return fire, they discovered the true extent of human technological superiority. Their energy weapons passed harmlessly through quantum-shifted human hulls, while their missiles were intercepted by point defense systems that operated faster than alien reflexes could follow. Captain Foster's Phantom unleashed its full fighter complement, 2,000 unmanned craft that swarmed through the alien formation like angry wasps. Each fighter was equipped with AI systems more advanced than anything the hegemony possessed, able to predict and counter alien tactics in real time. Enemy formation is breaking apart, reported Foster's tactical officer. They're trying to retreat, but our fighters are staying with them. The human fighters didn't destroy the fleeing alien ships, but they disabled their faster-than-light drives with precise weapon strikes. Soon, the entire hegemony fleet was trapped in normal space, unable to escape or call for reinforcement. Commander Rodriguez received new orders as the battle reached its conclusion. Shadow Leader, this is Fleet Command. Proceed with boarding. Operations on the alien flagship. Priority target is Admiral Zexthon. Alex smiled grimly as he maneuvered his ship alongside the massive alien vessel. Boarding teams, prepare for insertion. Remember, we want prisoners, not casualties. The human boarding teams were equipped with powered armor that allowed them to operate in any environment. They cut through the alien ship's hull using plasma torches that could slice through any known material, then moved through the corridors, with the confidence of soldiers who knew they had every advantage. Admiral Zexthon made his last stand on his own bridge, surrounded by his remaining officers. When the human soldiers entered, he was shocked by what he saw. The humans were smaller than most hegemony species, but their technology made them seem like giants. Admiral Zexthon, said the lead human soldier, her voice carrying clearly through her armor's speakers. I am Commander Sarah Blake of the Terran Marines. You are hereby under arrest for crimes against sapient species. The alien commander's dignity crumbled as he realized the full extent of his defeat. This is impossible. We are the hegemony. We have ruled this galaxy for 2 millennia. Not anymore, Sarah replied calmly. The galaxy has new management. Back on Earth, President Morgan addressed the planet in a broadcast that would be remembered for centuries. Citizens of Earth, I can now reveal that our species has been preparing for this day for 20 years. The alien empire that demanded our surrender has been decisively defeated by the Terran Black Fleet. The revelation sent shockwaves around the world. Humanity had not only survived first contact with a hostile alien empire, they had won a complete victory using technology that seemed like magic even to their own people. Dr. Carter stood beside the president during the broadcast, finally able to discuss her life's work openly. The recovered alien technology from Mars has allowed us to build weapons and ships that surpass anything the hegemony possessed. We are no longer the primitive species they believed us to be. Throughout hegemony space, alien crews watched in stunned silence as human ships appeared around their positions. The humans offered terms of surrender that were more generous than anything the hegemony had ever provided to conquered species. Captain Martinez was freed from his cell by human Marines who cut through the alien restraints with handheld plasma cutters. As he was escorted to safety, he saw Kira Esch and dozens of other alien prisoners being treated with medical care and respect. What happens to them now? Jake asked Commander Blake. They're free to return to their homeworlds, or they can seek asylum with us. The hegemony's age of oppression is over. The Battle of Kepler's Gate, as historians would later call it, lasted only 6 hours from start to finish. The hegemony fleet that had seemed so invincible was scattered, captured, or in full retreat. The alien empire that had ruled the galaxy for 2,000 years had been brought to its knees by a species they had dismissed as primitive. 6 months after the fall of the hegemony, President Lisa Morgan stood before the largest gathering of sapient beings in galactic history. The Great Assembly Hall on New Geneva, formerly the hegemony capital world, hosted delegates from over 300 species as humanity formally established the Terran Federation. The transformation had been remarkable. Where once alien slaves had labored under the weight of oppression, now free beings worked together to build a new civilization based on cooperation and mutual respect. The speed of change astonished even the humans who had made it possible. "Citizens of the galaxy," President Morgan began, her words translated simultaneously into hundreds of languages by advanced AI systems. "We gather today not as conquerors and conquered, but as equals united in the cause of freedom and prosperity for all, sapient life." Admiral Kate Sullivan watched from her place of honor in the assembly, still wearing the uniform of the Black Fleet that had made this moment possible. Around her sat beings whose worlds had been liberated by human forces, their faces showing, emotions ranging from gratitude to cautious hope. The Delaney delegation was led by Kira Esch, who had become the first alien ambassador to serve in a human government. Her species had proven remarkably adaptable to human democratic ideals, establishing underwater parliament buildings where decisions were made by consensus rather than imperial decree. "The oceans of 12 worlds flow free again," she had reported to the assembly earlier. "Our children swim in waters that know no masters, and our songs of freedom echo from the deepest trenches to the brightest surfaces." Captain Jake Martinez, now promoted to Admiral of Interspecies Relations, coordinated the integration of former hegemony species into the new Federation. His experiences as a prisoner had given him unique insights into alien psychology and the trauma of long oppression. "Recovery takes time," he explained to the Human Diplomatic Corps during one of their training sessions. "Some species have been slaves for so long they've forgotten how to make their own decisions. Our job is to guide them back to independence, not to become their new masters." The Zephyrians had embraced human technology with enthusiasm. Their natural engineering skills, enhanced by access to quantum mechanics and dark matter manipulation. Their homeworld had been transformed from a polluted industrial complex into a showcase of clean technology and sustainable development. Commander Alex Rodriguez led the expanded exploration fleets that pushed the boundaries of known space ever outward. His ships, no longer operating in stealth, served as ambassadors to species that had never encountered galactic civilization. Each new contact brought fresh perspectives and expanded the Federation's understanding of what was possible. "We've made contact with the Luminary Collective," Alex reported during one of his regular briefings. "They're energy beings who live inside stars. Their understanding of plasma dynamics could revolutionize our power generation systems." Dr. Helen Carter had become the Federation's chief technology advisor, overseeing the integration of alien sciences with human innovation. The combination was producing advances that neither species could have achieved alone, from medical techniques that could heal any known injury to transportation systems that made interstellar travel as simple as walking across a room. The recovered technology from Mars was just the beginning, she explained to a gathering of scientists from dozens of worlds. When we combine human creativity with the accumulated knowledge of 300 species, there's no limit to what we can achieve. Captain Ryan Foster commanded the humanitarian fleet that delivered aid and assistance to worlds still recovering from centuries of oppression. His ships, once carriers of war, now brought hope to the darkest corners of the galaxy. The transformation of individual worlds was remarkable, but the changes in galactic culture were even more profound. Art, music, literature, and philosophy from hundreds of species began to cross-pollinate, creating new forms of expression that no single civilization could have imagined. Captain Nicole Baker had transitioned from Marine Commander to Director of Interspecies Security, overseeing peacekeeping forces that prevented conflicts between species still learning to coexist. Her approach emphasized rehabilitation over punishment, helping former enemies become allies. Most conflicts arise from misunderstanding, she explained to her peacekeeping teams. When species that have been isolated for centuries suddenly find themselves neighbors, friction is inevitable. Our job is to facilitate communication and build bridges. The former hegemony capital had been renamed New Geneva in honor of humanity's commitment to diplomatic solutions. The city's architecture blended human design principles with alien aesthetics, creating a unique style that represented the cooperative spirit of the new Federation. Admiral Sullivan oversaw the conversion of the Black Fleet from an instrument of war to a force for exploration and protection. The ships that had shattered the hegemony now served as mobile bases for scientific research and first contact missions. "We built these ships to fight for human freedom," she told her officers during the fleet's reorganization ceremony. "Now they serve a greater purpose, protecting the freedom of every sapient being in the galaxy." The trial of Admiral Zexathon had become a symbol of the Federation's commitment to justice, tempered with mercy. Rather than execution or life imprisonment, the alien commander was sentenced to serve in humanitarian missions, using his knowledge of hegemony operations to help locate and assist survivors of the Empire's worst atrocities. "Justice without compassion is merely revenge," President Morgan had explained when announcing the sentence. "We seek to heal the galaxy, not perpetuate its wounds." The speed of technological advancement under the Federation was unprecedented. Human quantum physics combined with alien temporal mechanics to create transportation systems that could move entire fleets across the galaxy in minutes. Medical advances eliminated most forms of disease and extended lifespans for all members. Species Commander Rodriguez's exploration fleets had mapped thousands of new star systems, making contact with species that had hidden from galactic civilization for millennia. Each discovery added new knowledge and capabilities to the growing Federation. "We've found civilizations that exist in dimensions parallel to our own," Alex reported during one memorable briefing. "Their understanding of multidimensional physics could revolutionize everything we thought we knew about the universe." The economic transformation was equally dramatic. The hegemony system of exploitation and resource extraction was replaced by cooperative development programs that benefited all participating species. Worlds that had been strip-mined for alien benefit were restored to pristine condition using advanced terraforming techniques. Dr. Carter's research teams had unlocked the secrets of matter conversion, making scarcity a thing of the past. Any element could be transformed into any other element with sufficient energy, and the Federation's mastery of stellar engineering provided virtually unlimited power. The cultural renaissance was perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the new era. Species that had been forbidden to express their identities under hegemony rule suddenly burst forth with centuries of suppressed creativity. Art galleries, concert halls, and theaters on thousands of worlds showcase the incredible diversity of galactic civilization. President Morgan established the Galactic Council as the Federation's governing body, with representation proportional to each species' population and technological contribution. The Council met in rotating sessions on different worlds, ensuring that no single location became the center of power. We learned from human history that concentrating power leads to corruption, she explained to the Council during its inaugural session. By distributing authority among all member species, we ensure that the Federation serves everyone's interests. The integration of former slave species continued to present challenges, but the results were uniformly positive. Beings who had labored in alien mines and factories became scientists, artists, and leaders in their own right. The psychological healing took time, but human counselors trained in interspecies psychology helped speed the process. Captain Martinez established the Federation Academy on Earth, where young beings from across the galaxy came to study human principles of democracy, freedom, and cooperation. The institution became a symbol of the new era, its graduates returning to their homeworlds as ambassadors of progressive ideals. "We're not teaching them to be human," Jake explained to critics, who worried about cultural imperialism. "We're teaching them to be free. How they choose to express that freedom is entirely up to them." The Black Fleet had evolved into the Federation Navy, its mission expanded from warfare to exploration, protection, and humanitarian assistance. The ships retained their distinctive black hulls as a reminder of their origins, but their crews now included beings from dozens of species working together in perfect harmony. Admiral Sullivan's flagship, the Retribution, had been converted into a mobile diplomatic platform, hosting negotiations between species and facilitating peaceful resolutions to conflicts. The ship that had once destroyed the hegemony's ultimate weapon now served as an instrument of peace. As the first year of the Federation drew to a close, the transformation of galactic civilization was complete. The empire of oppression had been. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of her flagship, the UES Retribution, as the massive vessel emerged from quantum jump space. Behind her, 10,000 ships of the Black Armada materialized in perfect formation, creating the largest battle fleet in recorded galactic history. The Battle of Kepler's Gate had been only the beginning. In the 3 weeks since that first victory, humanity had liberated 17 star systems and freed millions of enslaved beings from hegemony rule. Now they faced the alien empire's final stronghold, a fortress system with planetary shields and orbital weapons platforms that had never been breached in 5 centuries. "Status report," Kate ordered, her eyes fixed on the tactical displays showing the massive hegemony defensive network. "Sensors detect approximately 50,000 enemy vessels in defensive positions," reported Commander Lisa Torres, her tactical officer. "They've had time to prepare for our arrival. This won't be like our previous engagements." Kate nodded grimly. The element of surprise was gone now. The hegemony had adapted their tactics and concentrated their remaining forces for a final stand. This battle would test every advantage humanity possessed. Dr. Helen Carter's voice crackled over the secure communication channel from Earth. "Admiral, the dark energy cannon is fully charged and ready for deployment. Remember, we get only one shot with this weapon. The dark energy cannon was humanity's ultimate weapon, capable of destabilizing stars themselves. It had been built into the Retribution's hull using technology that pushed the boundaries of human understanding. The weapon could end the war with a single shot, but using it would also announce to the entire galaxy that humanity possessed planet-killing capabilities. Captain Nicole Baker prepared her Marine boarding teams aboard the assault carrier Devastation. Her soldiers were equipped with the most advanced power armor humanity could produce, environmental suits that allowed humans to fight in conditions that would kill most alien species. "Listen up, Marines," Nicole addressed her troops over the comm system. "Intelligence reports that the aliens are using slave soldiers from conquered species as frontline troops. These beings are fighting under duress, not by choice. Disable, don't destroy. We're here to liberate, not slaughter." Her Marines were trained for exactly this scenario. The power armor's non-lethal weapon systems could incapacitate alien soldiers without permanent harm, while advanced medical scanners could identify species that required special consideration during combat. Meanwhile, Captain Jake Martinez commanded the captured hegemony vessel he had renamed Vengeance's Shadow. The alien ship had been retrofitted with human technology, creating a hybrid vessel that confused enemy sensors. More importantly, Jake had been working with liberated alien species to coordinate resistance movements throughout hegemony space. "Kira Esh, report on the Delaney squadrons," Jake called to his alien communications officer. The aquatic being had become his most trusted advisor, providing insights into hegemony tactics and alien psychology that human strategists couldn't match. "The underwater cities on Delaney Prime are ready to disable their forced labor systems," she replied, her webbed fingers dancing across the alien control interfaces. "The Zephyrians have confirmed they can sabotage the atmospheric processors on their homeworld. When we give the signal, the slave worlds will rise as one." This was the key to humanity's strategy. Rather than simply defeating the hegemony militarily, they were inspiring the oppressed species to reclaim their freedom. Every liberated world became a staging area for further operations, while every freed species provided intelligence and support for the human fleet. Commander Alex Rodriguez led his stealth squadron in a reconnaissance mission around the enemy fortress. The Shadow's Edge and its companion ships used their quantum cloaking to map defensive positions and identify weak points in the alien formation. "Base control. This is Shadow Leader," Alex reported. "The enemy has created overlapping shield networks around their primary installations. Conventional attack vectors are blocked, but I'm detecting power fluctuations in Sector 7. "Acknowledged, Shadow Leader. Can you identify the source of those fluctuations?" Alex studied his sensor readings carefully. His training in alien technology analysis paid off as he recognized the energy signatures. "It's a prison complex, heavily shielded but drawing enormous power. I think they're holding high-value prisoners there." The intelligence was immediately relayed to Admiral Sullivan, who realized the implications. The hegemony was using their most important prisoners as human shields, counting on humanity's reluctance to cause civilian casualties. "All units, adjust targeting priorities," Kate ordered. "We extract those prisoners before engaging the main, defensive network." The extraction mission required surgical precision. Captain Ryan Foster's carrier Phantom launched its entire complement of stealth fighters, 2,000 AI-controlled craft that moved through the defensive network like digital ghosts. Each fighter was equipped with quantum tunneling devices that could transport prisoners directly to safety. The AI systems aboard the human fighters were more advanced than anything the hegemony had ever encountered. They could analyze alien thought patterns, predict defensive responses, and adapt their tactics in real time. When the aliens tried to intercept them, the fighters simply phased through solid matter and continued their mission. Within the prison complex, thousands of beings from dozens of species waited in despair. They were scientists, artists, political leaders, and military officers who had dared to resist hegemony rule. Most had given up hope of ever seeing freedom again. When the human fighters materialized inside their cells, using quantum tunneling to bypass all security measures, the prisoners couldn't believe what they were seeing. The humans had come not as conquerors, but as liberators, risking everything to save beings they had never met. "Citizens of the galaxy," came a human voice through the prison's communication system. "This is Admiral Kate Sullivan of the Terran Liberation Fleet. You are being evacuated to safety. The age of hegemony oppression ends today." The extraction took less than 20 minutes. Human technology made it possible to transport tens of thousands of prisoners to safety faster than the aliens could respond. When the prison complex was empty, Admiral Sullivan gave the order that would change galactic history forever. "All units, commence final assault. Target their command networks first, then proceed with systematic dismantling of their defensive grid." The Battle of the Hegemony Core began with a display of power that stunned both sides. The Retribution's dark energy cannon fired once, its beam reaching across space to destabilize the gravitational field around the enemy's primary command station. The massive alien fortress simply collapsed into itself, creating a localized black hole that consumed everything within a 100-kilometer radius. The psychological impact on the remaining hegemony forces was immediate and devastating. Their ultimate stronghold, supposedly impregnable, had been erased from existence with a single shot. Surrender signals began appearing on human communication channels within minutes, but not all aliens gave up immediately. Admiral Zex Thon, now commanding from a backup facility, rallied his remaining forces for one final desperate assault. He had spent his entire life believing in hegemony superiority, and accepting defeat meant accepting that everything he had fought for was meaningless. "All ships target the human flagship," he ordered, his voice carrying the fury of a broken empire. "If we die today, we take their leader with us." The remaining hegemony fleet, still numbering in the thousands, converged on the Retribution with suicidal determination. Their weapons blazed across space, creating a light show that could be seen from neighboring star systems. For a moment it seemed like the aliens might overwhelm the human flagship through sheer numbers. But humanity had planned for this moment as well. The Retribution's defensive systems activated, creating a quantum barrier that deflected weapons while allowing human return fire to pass through unimpeded. The alien assault broke against human shields like waves against a cliff. Captain Baker's Marines boarded dozens of alien vessels simultaneously, their power armor allowing them to fight in the vacuum of space itself. The human soldiers moved through alien ships like unstoppable forces, their weapons set to disable rather than kill. Within hours, most of the enemy fleet had surrendered or been captured. The final phase of the battle took place on the surface of the hegemony's capital, world. Captain Martinez led a combined force of humans and liberated aliens in an assault on the planetary government complex. The fighting was fierce but brief, as the alien defenders realized that resistance was futile. When Admiral Zexthon was finally cornered in his command bunker, he found himself face to face with Captain Martinez, the human he had captured weeks earlier. The irony was not lost on either of them. "How did you do it?" the alien commander asked, his voice hollow with defeat. "Your species was primitive. We had every advantage." Jake looked at the broken alien leader with something approaching pity. "You underestimated us because you never understood what makes humans fight. We don't just fight for survival or conquest. We fight for ideals, for freedom, for the right of every thinking being to determine their own destiny." As the hegemony capital fell, liberation movements erupted across the